A lot of people have been telling me that they're determined to come out and vote in the coming general election. Some of them, however, are not on the voters list. And some of them, however, are not on the voters list. And some of them, however, are not on the voters list.
No, sir. Me couldn't give a sweet laugh, so me have to go get one for you. Eh? People have been telling him that they're going to vote. Yeah, man. But they're not up on the voters list. I don't know when this man going to stop telling lies. Make this a man fool, sir. People have been telling him that they're going to definitely vote this election, but they're not up on voters list. That coming like people who said they're going to win the lotto who never bought a ticket. You ever see anything like that? Anyway, folks, let me welcome you all to Jamaica 411, particularly to my subscribers. Welcome back. Always lovely to have you and reading your comments. So please, guys, keep the comments going. If you're here with me for the first time, welcome. Welcome. Please, everyone, give the video a thumbs up from now on. Please go ahead, give the video a thumbs up. Share as well as subscribe if you have not yet done so as yet. And of course, you know you're all welcome to leave your comments in the comments section. So remember, have you shared? Yes, we've been doing very nicely with the shares, and I appreciate it a great deal. And of course, I want to thank you all in advance. Yes. All right, so now that you're back with me, let's get down to business. All right, so we went on our second leg of the road tour. We went to Northeast St. Elizabeth as well as Central Kingston. And I must say we had fun. Yes, me dear, me I'll get marriage proposal. No bad mind me now, you know. Yes, man, you want to see me betrothed too. Hey, Lord of His mercy. What can I tell you? We were in Brace River, we were in Bogue, we went to Silo, and then we went to the Raytown, and we'll never be forgiven, so we have to mention it. We went to the Raytown Fishing Village. That's on Norman Manley Boulevard. And we met some persons there. We talked to some ladies, we talked to others, and of course we had a very good time. They are very receptive and friendly at the Raytown Fishing Village. And Sheena wanted me to make sure that we mention you guys. So I did, Sheena, I did. And Kiba, of course. Hi, Kiba. She has the bar. And then there is Kerry and Kotisha. Yes, they're friends. Right. And they passed by. And they spent a little time with Kiba. All right. So Karen Cross would have told you about the trip and what we spoke, the persons we spoke to and so on, and what we gleaned. I leave her to tell you all of that. For now, I am back on the case of Master Dayton Campbell. Now, I had to revisit what he said in South Manchester. He was there as Peter Bunting's special guest, which shocked me no end, because I'm not quite sure what it was that Peter Bunting hoped that Dayton Campbell would be able to do, either for him, the party, his RISE team, and the comrades on the ground. I suppose, being the General Secretary, and I think he's also the campaign manager, that he'll be able to whip up the crowd. But having seen and heard his erratic behavior and his erratic pronouncements, one would have thought that Peter Bunting, who's supposed to have sense, at least supposed to, but I think we have concluded some time ago that he's not as smart as he thinks he is. Yes, he's a manipulator of no mean order, fancies himself a Machiavelli, fancies himself an Ozymandias, that is a name for the pharaoh called Ramesses II, one of the greatest pharaohs, yes, fancies himself, and he fancies himself a Niccolo Machiavelli, and he believes that he has the art of war down pat. And The Prince, which was written by Machiavelli, he thinks he has that down to a pat, and he can play all sorts of games, and people not aware that he's playing games with them. He can lift people up and he can bring them down. This is what is going on in that man's head. Of course, not being very sensible, he is quite unable to disguise his actions. So once we saw the first set, the instant we see the action again, we know he's behind it. And that was what made us suspect in the first place that he was behind those protests that was going on on foreign soil against what the people were calling government. They seem to be unable to understand that government is the people. So that was that insofar as Mr. Bunting is concerned. So, being a nitwit, he decided to take Dayton Campbell, put on him political platform, and call him his guest speaker. And true to form, the man opened his mouth and shame himself, shame his family, and shame the party. And I don't know if Mr. Bunting have any shame, but if he does, he's supposed to feel shame too, because he went and delivered of himself of this speech.
You see, when we as politicians are on the road walking, and it happens to every single one of us on this platform, we're walking and somebody says, you must go look for the comrade over there, sir. Them a comrade from Michael Manley days. Them a stalwart in the community. You have to go look for them. And we say, all right, and we go over there. And normally when you go over there, you see a frail comrade who has been through the battle. And them there, you know, look a rocking chair or them lie down on the bed. And you go in there and you say, comrade, how you do? And introduce yourself. And you thank them for them service to the party. And then you take fast and you cock your hand by your kimbo and you go look up. And when you look up, God Almighty, straight in the sky you look. Because of the condition under which they are living. These are persons who have served the party with distinction and them don't live nowhere. And it is part of the reason make them pitney and grand pitney stop vote. Because they say, look how mama and papa run back of politics and look which part them live.
Now there were many persons who, when they heard this section, thought that maybe I could have dealt with it. And they made an interpretation which is a correct interpretation in some respects. He said that this is a comrade from Michael Manley days and him not live nowhere. And many are saying that the interpretation to put on the words is that the PNP don't take care of people. They don't take care of them own for sure. That is what he was saying indirectly. Now, was he correct? That is the question. He may be saying something, but is his assertion with regards to this comrade that he's describing correct? And for that, we need to do a little analysis. Bear in mind, he said that this was a comrade that is now frail, who may be sitting in a rocking chair, or maybe lying on his bed. Presumably, it's not one comrade alone. It's several comrades who are living in these conditions. So they are probably in their 80s, maybe 90s, maybe 70s. And they are frail because, of course, they are coming from Michael Manley days. So they would have been maybe 20 or 30 years old at the time, maybe in the 40s, because Michael Manley days would be what now, some 40 years ago? Yes, probably 50. if you're talking about the 1970s. So this was when these comrades were active. And he's in Westmoreland, eastern Westmoreland, and therefore we can readily say that at some point those comrades lived in the houses that they now live in. And at that time, they would have been newer, certainly, than there are now. They were also active, and if their roofs need repairs, presumably they could repair it. So, it would not have been, or could not have been, Michael Manley's duty to take care of that comrade because he had other frail and ill comrades of his time that would have come from his daddy's time. Are you understanding? So this comrade now that is today, that is frail, that is on his bed, that is unable to repair his roof because he can't afford it, and presumably nor can his family, that is now, and his condition is now the problem of today. Are you seeing where I'm coming from? So we could be talking about the last 10 or maybe 15 years when these comrades would have found themselves in the situation that they're in. Very possibly they whether destroy the house or damage the house and them just not in any position to repair it. So this is not a problem of the past. This is a present day problem. And the problem now falls to these risers. And the question I would like to ask are the same questions that Karen Cross asked last night. When Dayton Campbell found the comrade in this condition, what did he do about it? Did he try to get help for the comrade? Because he didn't say so, He moved immediately from talking about the comrade no live nowhere. And that is why the children and grandchildren said them now vote, because mama and papa run back up politics and look how them a live. That is what he said. Now one would expect that, having recognized that he was going to say he did something so that the children and grandchildren can say, but at least those risers did something for mama and papa, so they would have to, change their mouth and stop saying that how mama and papa run after politics and them not do nothing for them. That is long and short of what they're saying. So why should they run after politicians? So did he do that? He never said. Instead, he moved immediately into talking about using the public fund to deal with the problem. There is no way, no matter what you hear him say, talking about it's time we do something about the living conditions of the people of Jamaica. He was not speaking about the people of Jamaica. He was speaking about somebody who is a Jamaican. But it was a particular person he was talking about. He was talking about comrades who fell on hard time. The PNP don't have money to do anything about it. But there is, after all, the OT Fairclough Fund, which they promised the party workers if they vote for them, they would create this fund to take care of their needs, educational and housing needs. Did Dayton Campbell even apply to the trustees to get help for the comrade, or just walk out? And as Karen Cross rightly said, come to use the man's suffering in order to gain political mileage. I ask the question again, why did he use the example of a comrade in order to say that we need housing solutions for the people of Jamaica? Why did he use the comrade as an example? There has to be a reason. Now, I hinted at one in my previous video, that it is his intention to use public resources to assist those comrades. That was what I said in the initial video. But as we don't know what the reason is, then we may as well look at all the possible reasons that there could be. Dayton Campbell, you would have heard if you listened to Karen last night, was benched. And there were persons who were behind his benching. Knobs in the PNP, I understand. And is it possible? I want you to think this through with me, my friends. Is it possible that what Dayton Campbell did when he got this opportunity from Peter Bunting was to take his revenge on those persons, those comrades, senior members in the PNP? Because those persons would have been coming from Michael Manley days, PJ's days, and Portia's days. Is it possible, when he brought up the condition of the comrade, that what he was doing is not just telling a story, but he was telling us something. He was telling us that there are young people now who not voting for the PNP because them say all them life, them parents are run back at the politics and them not live nowhere. Are you understanding me, my people? Listen to me again. The main thing is the young people, those grandchildren who said they're not voting anymore, right? Not voting because them parents been running behind the politics and them not see where they get out of it, so them now run after no politics. Some of those children even switch and say them are going to vote Labour Party. This is a blaming of those from Michael Manley days and coming forward for the fact that the PNP is losing its base. Are you listening to me? Right? And therefore, he is saying, when him talk about using the housing trust body now to build 50,000 solutions, that it is the Englishman and himself and Peter Bunting and the other risers that are going to fix that problem. By using the National Housing Trust to build 50,000 housing solutions for comrades like that and others. In other words, my friends, you were perfectly correct when you said that Leighton was saying that his predecessors did nothing at all for the PNP stalwarts and nothing at all for poor people in Jamaica. So the white man from England, right? Him not say it in so much words, but we are analyze what I'm saying, because there must be a reason why he mentioned the comrade. It's not the comrades alone who would be in that condition. You have other people in that condition, but there's a reason why I mentioned the comrades. And then talk about him about build housing solutions, right? For people in Jamaica. Because him criticizing those who wanted him benched. Because he chat too much. And him going to make the party lose. And he didn't like it. Right? And it's fascinating that it was Peter Bunting who invited him to speak. And he was the guest speaker. Now it appears that something are going on the inside. People are lick out against Leighton, and Leighton are lick them right back. There was he talking about him going to put tax on food, and then Marcus said, no, not true. There was it that Damien out there talk about him going to put 1%, the party going to put 1% on GCT and raise $25 billion to do all kind of things for children. And this idea, he said to the people that were listening, the idea that we're not raising taxes is what he said would keep us back, make the economy stagnate. The very idea that you not going to raise taxes or you're not raising taxes mean you can't introduce new programs. Isn't that what he said? He can't introduce new program. It means that the country is going to be stagnant. So they have every intention to raise the taxes, but they don't want you to believe that because them know them are going to lose vote. So Damian was saying taxes going to be raised. Julian said no. Then them in the parliament, Julian and Mark saying the school feeding program going to be expanded to include children they said is not on the path who are also in need. After Julian and Mark said that in the parliament, there was Damian down in St. Elizabeth, Southeastern, at a party office opening, the constituency office opening, Scotty Oakner constituency office, and there was Damian on the political platform saying every child is going to get this benefit. And if you do the calculation, and you're talking about an additional $30 billion in expenditure, and that's only for the youngsters who are at the primary school. Me not put in the high schools yet. So 6 months before the election is constitutionally due, although there is some controversy about that. 6 months before the election is constitutionally due, they are divided as to what policy to pursue. And here it is that Dayton Campbell is on the political platform exhibiting for all to see. Right? He tried to be as subtle as possible, but Labour had some seat before me too, because I wasn't looking at that. I was looking more on how the money is going to be spent and whether or not this money is going to be spent to take care of the problems that he saw and was trying to cover it by talking about other people, possibly. But now that I recall the fact that he was benched, it raises other possibilities. And when you think about it, it is far more likely that I am right this time. And my people, it also shows that you are right too, because you spotted that. Yes. And now that we have inside information, we can now put 2 and 2 together. What he was actually exhibiting on the political platform in South Manchester was a division that is taking place in the party. It'll get bigger. And this is what, 6 months? Well, we're in April now. So it's 5 months to September. Yes, the election can go beyond that, but that is only in certain circumstances. But it is constitutionally due. And by the way, I did say the 29th of September because I could not decide and I could not get the information, search as I did, whether or not the election was constitutionally due the 15th, which is the day when they had the swearing in, or on the first sitting when they sat down to do business, which was the 29th. No, it's not the 29th. It is indeed the 15th of September. So 5 months before the election is constitutionally due. Chances are Sandra going to go right down to the wire. And I suggest that he would, because they're going to use this. Remember, he had promised a fixed election date. Well, he never instituted it, but he could practice it and call the election on. He could do it on the 15th, but I would suggest that him do it on the 3rd of September. Again, that date is available. It falls on a Wednesday. Right? Now, you tell me what you think in the comment section. You think that it was all a coincidence, he was just talking, or do you think, based upon the information that we now have, that there were certain high-ranking people that demanded that he should take several seats, that they should take him from around the mic, not allow him to speak on these platforms because he's embarrassing the party and he's causing the party or will cause the party to lose votes and possibly lose the election? First chance he got, he decided to take his revenge on those people. and embarrass them, because them listening to what he's saying is going to come to the same conclusion that you, my people, came to. That he's saying that the PNP never do nothing for the comrades, and them certainly never do nothing for poor people. On a political platform, he would have said that in revenge. And if it's not revenge, it was careless. Carelessness that is now going to be used, you can rest assured, in the campaign of the Labour Party. I cannot imagine them leaving out this juicy bit. What useful purpose this man served to the People's National Party? He's a problem that they need to get rid of. Quick and fast too. Question is it too late for that? And even a bigger question, what is next for Dayton Campbell? Well, folks, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, for sharing, liking, subscribing, and leaving your comments in the comments section. Until next time, take very good care of yourselves and walk good.
You see, when we as politicians are on the road walking, and it happens to every single one of us on this platform, we're walking and somebody says, you must go look for the comrade over there, sir. Them a comrade from Michael Manley days. Them a stalwart in the community. You have to go look for them. And we say, all right, and we go over there. And normally when you go over there, you see a frail comrade who has been through the battle. And them there, you know, look a rocking chair, or them lie down on the bed. And you go in there and you say, comrade, how you do? And introduce yourself. And you thank them for them service to the party. And then you take fast and you cock your hand by your kimbo and you go look up. And when you look up, God Almighty, straight in the sky you look. Because of the condition under which they are living. These are persons who have served the party with distinction and them don't live nowhere. And it is part of the reason make them pitney and grand pitney stop vote, because they say, look how mama and papa run back a politics and look which part them live.